the Oscars, but that's still something pretty good right there. How, your feelings about that?
I'm blown away. I had no idea. That's awesome.
And then, you know, another little piece of information, this is personal experience. In 1992, I saw a movie and actually bought the soundtrack because it was quite good, the soundtrack to Mo Money. And on there was a track by a group called Crush. Do you know anything about that, Karen? Or can you tell us anything about it?
I do. I was a member of Crush, and
good song, man. Great song.
Thank you. I got a platinum album in my mom has a platinum album hanging on her wall because of that. So that was my first intro to the biz. So yeah.
Awesome.
It's amazing. Thank you.
And then David, you know, your career has gone through some voice acting as well, but obviously you're also writing, a lot of writing as well. And I just found out about a short novella that you had written, you've already written, and I want you to tell us about it, because I'm curious about the title. I love the title.
Sure. I published a short novella through Cool Beans Publishing Entity called Buddy Holly and the Cold, Cold Ground. And it's a paranormal ghost story about a man who goes back to an old house in New Orleans to try to rescue the body of an ex-girlfriend that's being looked over by some evil entity. Buddy Holly figures into it because the main character is told a story about how Buddy Holly faced his own evil entity at the moment of his death. And it's all fictionalized, of course, but it was a lot of fun to write, a lot of fun to explore the characters and the stories, and it was a real kick in the pants to finally get it published. So yeah, it was great.
Is that the genre that you want to continue writing, or is there? I mean, what do you like to continue?
Well, I just learned before coming down here that 2 other short stories that I've written are going to be published in later in the year. I had a werewolf story that was published last year, and hopefully sometime later this summer, the superhero novel that I wrote will get published. So,
awesome. We wish you the best of luck with that. We have time for one more question, folks. One more question. We got one over here. There we go. I don't have to walk so much.
There you go. Okay. My question is for anyone who wants to answer. I know the characters I played, Bulk and Skull, were on the show for quite some time from the beginning, I think to later episodes. And I was just wondering, how was it working with those guys?
Luckily, I did get to meet Jason and Paul because they would come into the voice studio because they were very talented and also provided other voices for other monsters on the show. And I think I remember one session where all 3 of us were in there, and that's where we came up with the sound for the putties, the whole. They were great. Such a wonderful team together, and they contributed such a great aspect to the show. I thought we're going to see them in Lexington, so they're fantastic.
Amazing. Those guys, I love those guys. And it's funny because now that we're doing the convention circuit, for some odd reason, they always get put right next to me. And it's like, I get like the biggest entertainment. They have these things, like they're destructive, those 2. Like every year, Lexington, I don't know why, we did Lexington one year, and randomly, there was a leather like love seat, and it was in their booth. Like, I don't know where this love seat came from, but for some reason, they put this random love seat in their booth. By the end of that convention, which it was only like a 3-day convention, that love seat was like ripped to shreds. You saw part of it was like, you know, torn up, and in the corner, they were throwing, you know, fans were wearing the puff stuff that's like, you know, the cotton that's inside. They were giving people rides across the convention floor on the love seat. Like, the things that happened on that love seat, I can't even tell you. It was just, people were, like, the fan photos were awesome. But those guys are amazing. Like, what people don't know about them is that they're immensely talented. Like Jason Narby, we call him Dr. Narby because he has his master's in theater, and PhD, excuse me. He has his PhD in theater, and he actually teaches at a university in Chicago. Like, he's amazing. He actually, a project I was working on, worked with me. I was like, will you be my acting coach? And he, you know, and then when we came on the show, it was funny, but they put Polly as our acting coach, just to kind of take us on the set. You know, this is where you stand, and they're gonna put a piece of tape on the floor, you gotta hit your mark. So he was kind of there the first week or two, just to, as moral support for the three new guys. And he was our acting coach also. He'd run lines with us. So these guys are so talented. Like, I told them one day I'm gonna write a project, and we'll all come back and do something that's different from Power Rangers, and you two will be the bad guys. And they were like, hell yeah! Like, they were so excited.
Yeah, Paulie and Jason, man, they're amazing. We had so much fun. They weren't just comedy relief for you guys in front of the camera, they were comedy relief for us behind the camera. So I cannot tell you how many jokes and pranks and crazy things went on, and I finally got to see them again recently. And we just reminisced, and then we went out and had a drink or two, and found some more comedy relief. Quite a lot. In fact, that night I think somebody's tooth got chipped. I'm not going to say who. So, somewhere in the Power Ranger world, somebody got a chipped tooth, or a tooth chipped that night. I'll let you guys investigate. So.
Guys, as we finish up our time together with him, and we've had a lot of fun, obviously, can you guys give us a final word, just to kind of, for the fans, obviously, any final word?
Mine's really simple. I left the business, I went into emergency medicine, I did things people told me I couldn't do. The world is full of people that will tell you no. Don't be one of them. Don't tell yourself no. Don't be one of those people.
Yeah, I piggyback that. That's amazing advice, because, you know, a lot of people, as actors, we get told no a million more times. I've probably been told no 1,000 times, but the few times that I was told yes have changed my life. Like he brought up, before I was even an actress, I was a singer. You know, I was 12 years old, and ever since I know I could walk, I used to tell my mom, I want to be a dancer, singer, actress, model, choreographer, producer. And she was like, what? And so I grew up in Odessa, Texas, and I mean, I didn't know anybody in the business. I moved to Dallas. I heard about an audition in a newspaper, you know, and I went and I got in this group. And, you know, a year later, I had a major record deal with A&M Records, and we did the Mo Money soundtrack. And then that group ended. Like, I was literally signed on A&M. I was working with the biggest producers at the time, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and we got dropped from the label. A&M dropped us, and I was devastated. Literally 2 months later, there was another ad in the newspaper, and I went to an open call audition where there were 10,000 people in Dallas, and who knows how many other people in the other 5 cities they had, you know, went to. I stood in line all day long. 4 days later, I was a Power Ranger. So I mean, it's like, that's what I always say, like, it's like, it's not like I was destined. I think that it was just, you know, I had a faith in God, I had a faith in myself, and when time came, I was like, I'm getting that part. Like, I'm gonna do whatever I can. And I just tell people all the time, you know, are gonna be told no way more than what you'll ever be told yes. But the couple times you get the yes, it could change your life. So be ready, go for it, why not?
Just to go back and touch on something we spoke to earlier about no hate. I think one of the biggest things that I take away from the show and from being a part of it is that words can hurt, but words can also build you up. And we're all connected in some way or another, and you'll never know whose lives you're going to touch. So just be aware, be mindful, and just take that one moment to say something nice to somebody that could change their day, could change their life. And that will spread, that will continue to ripple outward. And we're still seeing it today. That's why we're sitting here, because of you guys, because you were touched, and it's touched you, and it's going to touch somebody else, and it's just going to keep going forward. And that's what I think why we're here and what it's all about.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, David, Karen, Austin. This is your Power Ranger panels, folks. Thank you so much. And a big round of applause.
We're going back to our booth, so we will see you in the main. So we want to meet all of you. So please go back to our booths. We want to meet you. We want to get to know you and want to say goodbye before we leave today. So please, we'll see you in a second.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a great